Hello EFD squad, you dirty dogs, and welcome back to the UCL review where we put Europe's premier competition underneath the microscope. Joining me, it's Baldiola.
Back
That's
again.
Millionth time we've said that.
Oh, I like it. I'll roll with it.
You know.
If I have an ounce of Pep's ability, I'll take it.
You've embraced it. You're the Pep Guardiola of Euro Football Daily.
Indeed.
A tactician who's also quite cold and tacit.
Oh, okay.
So, anyway, the first match we're covering is Real Madrid versus PSG. And before we delve into the nooks and crannies, those underlying numbers, if you're not subscribed to Euro Football Daily, please do so now by clicking the subscribe button, obviously. Turn notifications on as well. Let's do this.
Yeah, Real Madrid 2, PSG. Owing to the way results went in this group, both teams are now qualified despite sharing the spoils at the Santiago Bernabeu. For Real Madrid, this performance was a marked improvement on their 3-0 thrashing at the Parc des Princes, which we did a Total Football for. I'm sorry we didn't do Total Football this week. There wasn't enough availability, but we will hopefully be back for game week 6. But back to this game. For once, they convincingly outshot their opponents, Real Madrid, registering 27 shots to PSG's 13, putting 12 on target to the visitors' 4. It's really one of their best performances of the season. To give you some context, this is 10 more than they average in La Liga per 90 against one of the tournament's top teams to boot. In fact, in the away leg of this fixture, they didn't register a single shot on target, and this match shows how far Zidane's team have really developed in the last month or two, at least performance-wise. At the heart of it was Karim Benzema, who celebrated his 100th appearance in the Champions League in style, scoring 2 goals. He's only the second Frenchman to reach that 100 milestone. Can you guess the other one?
Ooh, mon ami.
I know, getting some engagement early on. Yeah, let me know in the comments below whether you can get that one. And when you are taking 5 shots, as many as Di Maria, Icardi and Neymar combined, completing 2 dribbles and laying on 2 chances for your teammates, you can feel hard done by to not be on the winning side. Just to give you some indication of Benzema's performance, this is an absolutely crazy stat. He attempted 60 passes on the night with a 92% pass accuracy. Now, top-level midfielders, a Jorginho, a Verratti, someone like that, probably average around 80, 90. So for Benzema to produce 60 just shows how dominant Real Madrid were on the night. That's 10 times more passes than Mauro Icardi and only 4 fewer than PSG's number 6 Marquinhos. If you're interested, only 6 players completed more. Quite incredible. But Chris, you were very much watching this game, and you were talking in the office this morning. Nightmare for Real Madrid to only draw this game, but a really good performance.
Yeah, really good, like you said, a marked improvement. 6 passes from Icardi. Not quite sure what he's doing, just smoking in the 6-yard box.
Trying to win penalties.
But we actually talked Karim Benzema up on this week's Sunday Vibe, so brace yourself for that, because I do think he's perhaps one of the most underrated players of his generation, maybe because of things off the pitch. Again, we elaborate in Sunday Vibe, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Back to the game in hand, because despite that strong performance, and despite PSG's strong finish actually, they were lucky to escape with a point, owing to that sort of really odd 4-minute period where there was 3 goals, sort of entered the twilight zone. There was some improvement from Tuchel's men second half. He brought Idrissa Gueye off, who was hugely influential in that first game. We were waxing lyrical after his sort of masterclass at the Parc des Princes, weren't we? Bringing Neymar on. Now, the Brazilians' sort of long-awaited return, bit of a damp squib. I mean, he still managed to complete 5 dribbles in a half, which is very good. And that was actually a match high, but was rarely a goal threat as a result. Only registered 1 effort on goal. Idrissa Gueye as well, the substitute, well, the guy who was substituted even, pretty unlucky not to be involved in a goal. He put Mauro Icardi through after tackling Marcelo on the halfway line, only for Icardi to be scythed down by Thibaut Courtois.
And then we had
a really bad. And Courtois, that patchy form continues, doesn't it, despite the team's upturn. Anyway, that is a different subject. So 2 situations presented themselves from that scything that we just mentioned. A red card for Thibaut Courtois and a free kick, or a yellow card and a penalty. Now, the referee gave a red card at first because I think he judged it to be just outside of the box. VAR showed it was inside, so it would have been a yellow and a penalty, so it wasn't double jeopardy. But it turns out that Idrissa Gueye gave Marcelo a little shove in the build-up.
What do you
Now
even call it, a shove?
Yeah, shove is probably overdoing it. What did you think on that situation?
I thought it was totally ridiculous. The poor guy, I mean, the equivalent was probably like a that, and Marcelo tumbles to the ground quite theatrically, and it was not a shove, it was not aggressive, it was not dangerous. I thought it was completely undeserved for that not to be a penalty and a yellow for Courtois. Because obviously you can't do double jeopardy. So I thought PSG were really unlucky there.
Got away with one big time, didn't he, Thibaut? Let us know what you think in the poll above. Which option? What was it? Red card, free kick, penalty, yellow, not a foul. But it was actually, I want to give Idrissa Gueye's opposite number, is it Fede Valverde?
Fede Valverde, yeah.
Fede Valverde some credit because he was really good in this game, the 21-year-old. He completed 6 tackles and interceptions, 2 blocks and 1 clearance. Actually given a standing ovation when he left the pitch when Real Madrid were actually 1-0 to the good on 76 minutes. I think Luka Modric came on for him. Not a bad substitute to bring on. And on the topic of mammoth performances, Real Madrid fans will probably still be wishing that King Kayla was in goal for them. Navas making 10 saves in this game. He's going to be pretty essential to PSG's ambitions to go deep in this competition, isn't he? Benzema's goals were actually the first that Navas has conceded in the Champions League this term.
Of course, because they had that shutout against Club Brugge and then Real Madrid in the return,
There we go. So PSG top the group on 13 points, guys, but who will go further in this year's competition? Real Madrid or PSG, who can't get past the, quarterfinals? Quarterfinals.
Our second game which we need to talk about tonight was Spurs' fantastic comeback in Jose Mourinho's first home game in charge of Spurs. 4-2 over Olympiacos, but it certainly wasn't easy. The Lily Whites were 2-0 down within 19 minutes after goals from El Arabi and Semedo and some really shocking defending. Danny Rose pretty at fault for the first, Wink should have made a challenge, and then Toby Alderweireld's marking off a corner really poor. But they hit back spectacularly through Ali, a double from Kane and Aurier to secure their place in the knockout rounds. They've now qualified for the Champions League knockout rounds for the 3rd consecutive year, having never previously managed to do it twice in a row prior to that run. So they really are becoming regulars in the latter stages of European competition now. But it was far from decisive. Dreadful defending, as I said, saw them go 2-0 down, and then Mourinho was forced into a 29th minute substitution, Eric Dyer being hooked off for Eriksen, and then he ultimately made the difference, getting an assist for one of the Kane goals. And ultimately it worked. Mourinho came back from 2-0 down in a Champions League game for the first time in 13 attempts. And there was loads of positives actually after a shaky start. So Harry Kane reached the 20-goal tally in the Champions League in just 24 games. That broke Del Piero's previous record of 26 set in 1998. And their talisman now has 23 goals in 23 appearances for Spurs and England this season, but yet he's in the decline. Not really buying that anymore at all. Dele Alli continued his recent revival, obviously played very well against West Ham at the weekend, and he ended a run of 16 Champions League games without a goal here, 16. Scoring for the first time since November 2017 against Real Madrid. I don't know whether that was the home leg they won or the away leg they drew against Real Madrid. But the result, Chris, it probably felt a little bit harsh on Olympiacos because they did start so well.
Yeah, and they gave them a good game, didn't they? As it unfurled even when they were sort of being pegged back. But they've now gone 13 games without a UCL victory, drawing 3 and losing 10, conceding 34 goals in the process. But like we said, they can be proud of their efforts away from home on English soil. Now, despite having just 42% of the ball, they had 9 shots with 3 on target to Spurs' 12 and 5. So they were as effective in front of goal, really. And they know if they beat Red Star Belgrade at home in their final game, they'll qualify for the knockout stages of the Europa League, which is perhaps, no disrespect to Olympiacos, more in keeping with where their club is at current. So yeah, they'll be hoping to progress further than in 18-19 when they lost to Dynamo Kiev at that stage. Just thinking of chicken Kievs now. Absolutely love me a chicken Kiev. Best player in this game was probably central midfield Guilherme. 4 tackles, 1 dribble, 2 key passes, 1 shot, 1 assist. That's not been his first really outstanding performance in the Champions League either. He is probably one to keep your eye on at the moment if you're looking for a bargain, sort of defensively minded central midfielder. Now for Spurs, Winks probably deserves a little bit of a shout out. We've been quite damning of his performances of late and his inability to sort of contribute defensively. But in this game, he had 5 tackles and interceptions, 2 dribbles and 2 key passes. So really two-way performance. Kane, excellent. 2 tackles, 5 aerial duels won, 4 shots, 2 goals. But man of the match has to go to Dele Alli. 3 tackles, 2 aerial duels won, 1 dribble, 1 key pass, 1 shot, 1 goal. Some quite a heavy, list of numbers there for you to digest, but really does show that Spurs and, some of their more reliable individuals are coming back to the fore. Next up for Spurs, they host Bournemouth in the league on Saturday, so they'll be looking to build on that momentum, making it 3 out of 3 under their new boss. And we can actually hear from their new boss, who was very sort of apologetic about that Eric Dyer substitution. Let's go to it now.
Hurt the player, but hurt myself. Not easy for the player, but not also easy for myself. It is important that the player understands, and I was lucky that my choice was with a very intelligent boy and a boy that has a very good understanding of what the team is, because I did it for the team. It was not about his performance, it was about what the team needs. We are losing 2-0. We are in a very difficult situation at that moment.
Our final game we need to cover is Juventus, who beat Atleti 1-0 thanks to a bit of Dybala magic from a free kick. To say the old lady were fortunate, however, was an understatement, as Dybala's improbable free kick after a harsh foul was only one of 2 shots on target for the Turin outfit for the whole game. It certainly wasn't a classic.
What was this as well? After the goal,
Yeah.
It was giving it all the go too, wasn't it?
I'm not quite sure. Yeah, check out my chin. Atleti, on the other hand, had 15 attempts on goal, matching Juve's lowly tally of 2 shots on target, despite some glorious chances created near the latter end of the match. João Felix came on just after the hour mark and produced a sumptuous outside of the foot pass on a plate for Correa, who took a poor touch and got absolutely clattered by De Ligt. Poor bloke.
The tackle was as good as the ball. De Ligt destroys his whole body with just his knee.
Yeah, I feel like after getting some sort of unfair press in his first few games, De Ligt's really come onto the fore. He just needs to keep his hands out of the way in the box. There's been too many handballs against you, Matthias, but otherwise well played again. Felix then later slipped in Correa in the box, who squared it to Morata, who missed it completely, but would have probably been ruled offside anyway. So striking efficiency has been a big negative for Simeone's side this season. In the league, they're actually underperforming their XG by 6, with only Lagana's less clinical in front of goal, making them the lowest scorers in the top 4 with 16 strikes. And it could also cost them in the Champions League, as after this result, Atleti can no longer top the group, and a loss against Lokomotiv Moscow at home and a Leverkusen win against Juve would signal their drop into the Europa League. So squeaky bum time for Diego Simeone. But good news for Juventus, Chris.
Bad news for Celtic. I'd prefer, not that we're going to win the Europa League, but Atleti just to stay out of the Europa League.
Yeah,
because they'll come into
almost
it
like a guarantee.
And win it again, won't they? Yes, Juve now confirmed their place in the round of 16, going unbeaten in their last 5 games so far. Now, in recent history, they've had Atleti's number 2 in this fixture. Simeone's side joined Rosenborg as the only teams to play Juve away 3 times and not to score a single goal.
Ooh, really stout.
Definitely got them down to a T. But the baller's genius, pretty much the only reason that Juventus left with all the points, the only real thing that separated the sides. He's now scored his 10th goal from direct free kicks in all competitions with Juventus. It's the first since March 2018, though. That was versus Udinese in Serie A. So maybe they should stop letting Ronaldo take them and just put Dybala back on them.
Does seem to make sense.
Speaking of Ronaldo, wow, he was so disjointed last night, so disconnected from the rest of the side. The Portuguese forward, who admittedly might not have been fully fit, he missed Atalanta at the weekend. I think if Ronaldo wants to play a Champions League game, he plays. It's his competition, isn't it, after all? Only had 1 shot last night. I can't remember the last time he reported on a Champions League game where Ronaldo had 1 shot. His average is 5 in the competition, if memory serves me correctly. And his total now stands at just 1 goal in 5 appearances. Not very Ronaldo-esque, is it? Providing 0 assists, and his key passes, so chances created for his teammate, set an average of 0.8 this season in the Champions League, which is the lowest average of his career. So he's not even creating chances either. We'll put that to one side, because regardless of that, Sarri's streak continues, doesn't it? His winning streak, unbeaten in all competitions this season, despite not playing their best football, winning their last 6 games on the bounce, so making a nasty habit of it, aren't they? And they'll probably be resting Ronaldo yet again this weekend as they host 14th place Sassuolo at the Allianz Arena. We want to see a couple more vintage seasons from
100%.
Ronaldo in the Champions League, don't we? So get him fighting, fit Maurizio. Now, we normally do 3 sections in this, but I mean, I just meant to shout out Robert Lewandowski, but someone's written a whole script on it. So, on to the 4th section.
As Chris said, we couldn't not mention the star of the night, which was obviously Robert Lewandowski, who scored a 4-goal spree away at Red Star Belgrade, helping confirm Bayern Munich's qualification for the last 16 as group leaders. He became the second Bayern player to score 4 in a Champions League game this season after Serge Gnabry versus Spurs, who could forget that famous night. He's also the second player to score 4 times in 2 different Champions League matches after Leo Messi. I believe the first time he did it was against Real Madrid in about 2015. So well done, Robert, once again. But the fact he did it in 14 minutes and 31 seconds is what makes it remarkable. The fastest 4-goal spree in Champions League history, bringing back memories of his 9-minute 5-goal burst against Wolfsburg in 2015. And if he continues this rate of form, it's going to be very difficult to see him not winning the Ballon d'Or come 2020. Shoe-in, and I suppose it will depend what happens at Euro 2020 as well, but what a start to the season. And amazingly, this ended a goal drought by Lewandowski's standards, with the Polish striker failing to score on the weekend against Düsseldorf after netting in every league and Champions League game this season before then. All hail King Robert.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to piss on your chips, but that was definitely not a penalty. That was so harsh, the one where he brings it back across Lewandowski with his left foot, wins the penalty, takes it, scores, doesn't it? And it puts him on his way. But yeah, what a performance, like you said. And his overall UCL tally now stands at 63, placing him in a very elite group of players. Ronaldo, Messi, Raul, Benzema, just all icons of the game, really. And he's now in that club, like we said. The Polish striker, I mean, hot streak is probably underselling it. He's now scored in each of his last 9 group stage games he's appeared in, 17 in total. Wow. And his record this season is simply ridiculous. He has 10 in 5 Champions League games, 17 in 15 Bundesliga games, and 4 in 6 for his country too, so doing it on both stages, taking his tally to 31, all before December. Like Doogie said, even if he only scores another 20 goals from here on in, surely the guy deserves the Ballon d'Or. He remains the top goal scorer in Europe, actually, for this calendar year, I believe, on 51 in 53 in all competitions. So even from January onwards, the consistency has been absolutely ruthless. And it'd be a nice change to see, you know, someone like Lewandowski win the Ballon d'Or. That is the end of the show. What positive note to end on. Doogie, have you got anything to plug on Eurofootball Daily?
EFD, go check out yesterday's Euro transfer talk. Go check out ERU from Monday as well. And go back to Football Daily, which an hour ago would have dropped transfer talk for just the Premier League as well. So go check that all out. And as ever, subscribe to it, like the channel, leave a comment, etc., etc. And we'll see you next time.
Perfect.
Bye.